Welcome to the Explainer. Okay, let's dive into this. How you can bring your own custom-trained foundation models right into Amazon Bedrock. So let's start with a really common challenge. You've done all the hard work, right? You've customized a model, maybe fine-tuned it for weeks. It's powerful, it's yours. But now what? How do you actually get it out there, serving users without getting bogged down in all the operational stuff? All right, here's our game plan. We're going to walk through this whole journey, from getting your model ready to the actual import, all the way to running it and figuring out the costs. Let's do it. Okay, first things first, bringing your own model. So why would you even want to do this? Well, it's all about bridging that gap between your custom setup and a fully managed, scalable environment. Yeah, think of this feature as exactly that, a bridge. You've got your awesome proprietary model over here, maybe you built it in Amazon SageMaker, and over there you've got all of Bedrock's powerful serverless features. This is the tool that connects them. It lets you plug right into that ecosystem. And what's really cool is how flexible this is. We're not just talking about one kind of model. You could have a model you've fine-tuned with your own secret sauce, your proprietary weights. Or maybe you've adapted one for a specific industry, like finance, or even a new language, say Tamil. Heck, you could have even built a model from the ground up. All of these are fair game. All right, section 2, the pre-flight checklist. Just like you wouldn't take off in a plane without checking everything, you got to get your model ready for a smooth import. Let's look at what that means. First up, your model's architecture. The good news is Bedrock supports a ton of the big ones. You've got the whole Llama family, Mistral and Mixtral, the Quen family, a bunch of popular open source options. So there's a really good chance whatever you're using is already on the list. Okay, next, there are a few key technical boxes you got to check. Think of this as making sure your luggage fits the overhead bin. Your model weights, they need to be in what's called safety tensors format. The file structure should be the standard Hugging Face format, and there are some size limits to keep in mind. Oh, and one super specific thing, you need to be using a particular version of the Transformers library. Just double check that one. So you might be hearing safety tensors and thinking, what on earth is that? Don't worry, it's pretty simple. It's just a newer, better file format from Hugging Face for storing your model's weights. It's faster to load, and it's way more secure than the old ways of doing things. That's why Bedrock requires it. So, when you're all set, your final package that you'll upload to an S3 bucket should have these files. You'll see your safe tensors file, that's the weights, and then a few JSON files for configuration, plus the tokenizer model. Basically, this is the complete instruction manual that Bedrock needs to understand and run your model. Okay, checklist is done. We are ready for the main event, kicking off the import job. And the whole workflow is actually really straightforward. It's just 4 steps. You get your files ready in S3, you create an IAM role that's just giving Bedrock permission to access your stuff securely, then you submit the import job and you wait. Just monitor it until it says complete. And hey, if you're working with super sensitive data or in a production environment, you can lock this down even further. You can run the whole thing inside a virtual private cloud, a VPC, to keep it off the public internet. And you can even bring your own encryption keys for that extra layer of security. All right, the import is done. The status says complete. So now what? This is the fun part, actually putting your model to work and running inference. Once it's imported, your model gets its own unique ID, its ARN. And from that point on, it's treated just like any other model in Bedrock. Seriously, it's a first-class citizen. You can call it with the same invoke model or converse APIs that you'd use for any of the big foundation models on the platform. But you might run into this, a model not ready exception. Now, your first reaction might be to panic, but don't. This is actually a feature, not a bug. See, to save you money, Bedrock puts inactive models to sleep. This exception is just the system telling you, hey, give me a second to wake this model up. And the solution is baked right in. It's all about retries. The AWS SDKs handle this for you automatically. That first call wakes the model up. It might fail, but the built-in retry logic will just try again a moment later. And by then, the model is ready to go. It makes the whole thing pretty seamless for your app. Okay. Last but not least, let's talk money. How does the pricing actually work when you're running your own custom model in Bedrock? The core idea you need to get is something called a custom model unit, or CMU. Just think of it as a standard block of hardware power. When you import your model, Bedrock figures out exactly how many of these CMU blocks are needed to host one single copy of your model. And once you get that, the cost formula is super simple. It's just the number of copies you're running times the number of CMUs each copy needs times the billing rate for a CMU times how long it's running. and it's all built in little 5-minute chunks. And the best part? It's all totally transparent. There's no guesswork. You can find every piece of that formula right in the AWS console and on the pricing page. The number of copies running? That's in CloudWatch. The CMUs per copy? Right on your model's details page. And the rate? Publicly listed. Easy. This quote from the documentation really sums it all up, right? You bring your model in, and then you get to leverage all of Bedrock's features to actually use it. You're getting the best of both worlds, your custom logic on a managed platform. So the big takeaway here is that you now have a really clear path to operationalize your unique models. You can get them out of the lab and into the hands of users without taking on that huge operational headache of scaling and managing everything yourself. And that really opens up a new world of possibilities, doesn't it? It leaves us with this final, really exciting question to think about for your own projects. Now that you can deploy pretty much any custom model you can dream up at scale, what are you going to build first?